What is a prototype and why it matters? Definition: a prototype is a preliminary model used to test product ideas, design, and user interaction. Purpose: visualize concepts before full development, reduce risk and cost through early testing, communicate ideas across teams and stakeholders, gather feedback to refine product direction. A prototype serves as a physical representation of a product, helping to resolve issues during development and ensuring the concept meets the entire. Prototype is a physical representation of a product which is developed for the help to resolve one or more issues during the product development. A prototype can be considered to be an early release of the model or sample to represent a product which is built to test the concept of the product or process, or it is the model or sample which can act as a thing to be replicated or learned from. A prototype is the full-size or experimental model of a device or process. It is also sometimes considered to be the first or pre-launching complete item which later turns into a fully commercially produced product or process. In the modern era of mechanization, the launching of any product is guided by the pre-launch of the prototypes. For example, automobile prototypes before the launch of the actual product. OS. A scale model is a physical or digital representation of a building or automobile created at a reduced size but in accurate proportion to the original. In architecture, scale models help visualize structures, study spatial relationships, and communicate design concepts before construction. In the automotive field, they are used to test aerodynamics, refine aesthetics, and evaluate ergonomics prior to full-scale production. By offering a tangible, scaled-down version, these models allow designers, engineers, and clients to explore ideas, identify improvements, and make informed decisions with lower cost and risk. A paper prototype is a throwaway prototype created through rough sketches or hand-drawn representations of a product's interface. It typically illustrates the front-end design and, in some cases, outlines basic back-end processes. The purpose of a paper prototype is to quickly visualize ideas, test concepts at an early stage, and gather feedback before investing in detailed development. Because it is inexpensive and easy to modify, this approach helps teams explore alternatives, reduce the risk of costly design mistakes, and encourage rapid iteration. Before moving into mass production, 3D printing is often used to create prototypes and small batch models that help designers and engineers test their ideas. This stage allows teams to visualize complex shapes, check dimensions, and evaluate functionality without committing to expensive tooling or large-scale manufacturing. By rapidly producing and refining these early versions, 3D printing reduces development costs, shortens design cycles. The purpose of the prototypes includes to develop a rough vision to predict the nature of the performance of the products, to develop a concept model with no working features to
Now, the types of prototypes. The prototypes can be classified into 6 general classes in which they can be made in modern development process. The first prominent one is the proof of concept model, and the second one is industrial design prototypes. For proof of concept model, suppose we have an innovative thought and we want to, like, we are using certain technology in that idea, then that idea should be made into a workable model. So that is called as a proof of concept model. Industrial design prototypes, there is a sample diagram here where they are trying to make few things which are already available. They are trying to change the shape of the outer casing. So in that case, the design will be drawn in a paper, the dimensions will be fixed, and it will be designed according to the industrial requirements. So these are the two main concepts of types in which the prototypes can be made. The third one is called as an experimental prototype. It focuses more on the physical model, wherein a particular parameter, a layout, or something about that product is specified. So usually it models a subsystem of a product, which will further lead to betterment of the original system or a subsystem of a bigger version or a final product. Mostly this type of experimental prototypes are made from similar material, and also in dimension wise it will satisfy the actual product, how it should be, like it should fit into the actual size in which we want to make the final model. Next comes the alpha prototype. Alpha prototypes are fabricated using materials. Again, it will use the same measurements and layouts where a design team has agreed on the dimension, outer dimension, or the inside fabricated parts. Once the team is all convinced with one set of dimensions, then the alpha type alpha prototype will be made following all these specifications. So it is individually proven in a subsystem. DOE prototyping or design is done. It also includes some functional features for testing and measurement of the product or a system, because we want to find out whether the prototype is working according to the idea in which it has been started to develop. For that, they will include some testing and measurement of the products as a system. The fifth one, following the beta prototype or alpha prototype, is called as a beta prototype. It is almost like a full product. It is called as a full scale functional prototype. So we see that the proof of concept also is here, the functionality also is there. We have made it according to the dimensions in which the final end product should appear. All these things have been taken care of when we come to the beta prototyping. They are typically CNC machined rather than individual injection mold. So injection molding, we saw that it is a preliminary method of making a 3D prototype, but CNC machines are capable of producing even more finer dimensions. So this beta prototype will follow typically a CNC machined mechanism. Finally, we have the pre-production prototype. So as the name indicates, if a product is successful, we are going to produce in mass and give it to the sample market. So prior to that, if we it is almost close to our final product, rather this is called as a pre-production prototype, which again fully it will resemble a physical prototype model, functional wise, assembly wise, using the actual production tools. So many design firms will make this beta prototype be both the pre-production unit and the actual unit. In most of the cases, both these things they will combine it and do it. So this is intended to be produced into smaller batches of production, and as I said, it will be subjected to testing for a sample market for feedback, and if at all there is some deviations, small deviations, that also will be adjusted before putting into full scale production. So these are all the 6 types of prototypes, mainly most used. So apart from these 6 types, they also classify the method of producing a prototype like rapid prototyping. So some prototypes need, like today I have a thought, So tomorrow or 1 or 2 days we have to like work on that idea and give it a shape for that prototype. So this type of prototyping is called as a rapid prototyping. It mostly involves a computer aided design for constructing a physical model. The three-dimensional printer allows designers to quickly create prototypes for these because once you have designed something in a CAD, there is a facility that this CAD program directly can drive the three-dimensional production of a prototype. Okay, because normally we draw in two dimensional. This CAD program gives a better view of the prototype or the component which has to be developed, and also has the facility that it can directly give a 3D, it can be interfaced with a 3D printer to produce a prototype. So it is an excellent way to communicate between teams. If suppose one team is here, another team is somewhere else, in some other country or some other state, it is easy to like send the visualization between the teams and freeze on a design. So we have one more classification which is called as a virtual prototype. More and more this virtual prototyping is becoming powerful because it is capable of running on a software. It is a virtual simulation tool for facilitating whatever rapid prototyping we have discussed previously. In the recent years, it has been very prominent because we need not invest on material directly. So first we will visualize the prototype in a system, in a laptop or a high power system, and then agree on all the parameters. And also latest simulation tools provide various measurements, like you can measure the voltage at a point, you can measure the dimension at a point, you can measure the pressure at some point. So many facilities that software tools are providing, which is helpful in developing a prototype. So this is also becoming more and more prominently used these days. Okay, so having elaborated so much about the prototyping, what is the advantage or why should we do a prototyping? So first thing is we can get feedback from a set of customers. Based upon that, we can decide upon the pricing, the final end product, the requirement the customer is looking at. All those things we can do. And only if people see something, they will believe the product. So first we have to give a prototype, show it to the customer, then he is convinced about the idea, and he may give feedback and he may buy that product. And also it helps in checking whether a particular idea is feasible for production. So first of all ideas cannot be made into a product, so feasibility testing is possible with the help of prototype. So as I told you, subsystem modeling can be done, parameters can be measured, we can make decision on the design aspects and various other internal parameters if we do it in prototype itself. So in case of architectural interfacing, we can check the module interface will perfectly correct with our requirement or not, whether that particular assembly will fit into our expectations. The manufacturing process all can be made simpler. So I hope in this session we have a good idea about prototyping, their needs, and various methods in which we can make a prototype. And also we have seen the importance of making a prototype. Thank you for joining. Thank you.